How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age. And
if you like this content, make sure that you like and subscribe.
What are you doing?
You suck at branding.
I can't argue with that. Well,
also, share this video with your friends.
Are you done?
For now.
Okay. Now, this is another episode of Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
You're stepping on my line.
It's supposed to be my line to begin with. Okay, today we will be covering
Man of War.
I thought you said you were done.
I said for now, even though there's no tagline.
Anyways, we are going to be covering the Man of War, like he said. Now, this is definitely a lost hero. He didn't have many appearances. The idea was not new per se. The concept and the origin is new, and yes, he does have an origin story, but this is kind of a weird one. We'll go ahead and cover it. He's not a hero in the sense that he was a regular person that decided to do good. He's a manifestation, like the Unknown Soldier. So let's go ahead and cover his first appearance. We'll briefly cover his powers, his appearance in Project Superpowers as well, because he was public domain. I mean, Dynamite Entertainment took 100 some odd public domain heroes for their Project Superpowers, but I couldn't highlight everyone. So let's go ahead and cover the Man of War. Let's do this. Man of War. Man of War, real name unknown, first appeared in Liberty Scout Comics number 2 in 1941. The original publisher was Centaur, and he was created by Paul Gustafson, which I have mentioned him before. So, Man of War, it's not the newest of concepts. It had been done earlier by the Unknown Soldier, where appearing where you need it to be. The only difference between that one and this one is he appears within an explosion, and I'll cover that in the origin story. Just real quick before we go into the origin, Man of War was created essentially as an avatar for the Roman god Mars, who was intrigued by the Germans' war but thought that they were moving too slowly, so he sent down an avatar to, help the Germans win the war faster. Now, in the story, they say that there was a munitions factory in Dayton. They don't say Dayton, Ohio specifically, but in all the research, it looks like it might have been Dayton, Ohio. He decided that he wanted to work for peace instead of wanting to work for the Germans. I don't know. But we'll cover that. Firstly, let's go over his role in Project Superpowers. He was there. That's it. He didn't impact the story. He had joined in for the everybody piling on the bad guy, where everybody's there. But that's his role. He was there. All right. Let's get on with the origin. Now, first we start off with this impressive page splash. And again, with the short shorts, I don't know why people thought that was acceptable. It doesn't look good. Okay. So we start off with Mars, the god of war, watching the Germans' army, and it looks like he is the one who's pushing the Germans to attack everyone. He says that the war is progressing too slowly and that he is going to put an image of himself on Earth. So he says, "Hear me, I take the strength of Heracles, the speed of Mercury, the wisdom of Zeus, and the power of all the other gods, and combine them into my image. Who shall appear and disappear on Earth in an explosion. And yes, that ridiculousness comes into play. Thunder and lightning splits the heavens around the Earth, and Mars creates his masterpiece. Mars is all set to place his image on Earth, but little does he realize that the Earth is turned on its axis and is now directly above the United States. And there is an explosion at a munitions plant in Dayton. Yes, somehow a mystical beast, or mystical god, did not realize that the Earth rotates, apparently. He sends down Man of War, and Man of War, apparently he may be the image of Mars, but doesn't share in his, wanting to destroy the U.S. You forgot one thing, my fine feathered Mars. You created me in a peace-loving nation, not an aggressive one. I will fight your puppets with all the might and power you have given me. Now, one of the things I don't like about this issue is they have to keep drawing an arrow to let you know where the next panel is. And if you need an arrow to show you where the next panel is, then you failed at doing a comic book. I mean, I was trying to read the story as you would read a normal comic book, and then I noticed the arrows, and I said, oh god, it's going to be one of those. So, he appeared in the explosion at the munitions plants, but his appearance didn't cause the explosion. The explosion caused him to appear. He puts out the fire and notices something called, he says, well, a famous pencil. That didn't go off. Apparently, there were these little stick bombs that were called pencils. And again, we see more arrows to follow the panels properly, which means that you failed in making a properly sketched comic book. So, he is accosted by the gangsters who tried to destroy the plant, to grab the pencil from him so he couldn't use it as evidence. He is able to use the speed of Mercury, and he tracks the criminals back to their lair, and he infiltrates the facility. As they are talking about their plans, they notice him there, and they begin to shoot at him, and it says, but little do the men know that the Man of War can disappear at will in the slightest explosion, and he does as the guns bark out. Which, since the guns were firing, he was able to disappear, which is something that would come about later in the story. So they go to this aircraft factory, the bad guys, and they're intended on blowing it up, and they start to shoot at the guards. And because they fired a gun, the Man of War is able to appear again because the guns cause an explosion. He beats up all the criminals until there is just the main guy left, and the main guy decides to speed off. Well, the Man of War catches up to the car and jumps in and sits right next to him, grabs one of the pencils and says, "It's a funny thing, but most men meet their fates through their own deeds. Take this pencil, for instance." And he squeezes the pencil as hard as he can. It blows up the car and the main criminal and the Man of War. But since the Man of War appears and disappears with explosions, it was just a means to an end for him. And then it says, Americans all, join the Man of War in his fight against the aggressors. Watch for him in the next issue. Now, the Man of War's appearances was very much like that of the Unknown Soldier. He appeared when he was needed to help the good guys fight the bad guys. And it wasn't just that he appeared in the United States. In the last appearance of his, which got really goofy, he was helping out the French and battling the Germans. So he appeared to fight the Germans. Anyways, he basically had the power of the gods. You saw it: the wisdom of Zeus, the speed of Mercury, the strength of Hercules, or Hercules, however you want to pronounce that. I guess either pronunciation is correct. So he had all the power of the gods, could disappear and reappear in explosions. One person even used a lighter to make him disappear. That was really stupid. In the first issue of Man of War Comics, you can see the manifestation of Mars appearing behind one of the criminals and lets it be known in his head that lead can cause Man of War's powers to go away. Apparently, he is powered by rays from the Earth, and lead stops those powers. So he was led into a lead chamber where the powers would cease. But he still had Mars's flaming sword, which could cut through anything. So he was able to escape the trap. But it does seem that he does have a weakness of lead. Oh, and that was a weakness that the Unknown Soldier never possessed. But he seemed to be created along the same lines. But again, 5 appearances, 4 stories. Well, that's it for this one. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something about a hero that you may not have known about. So, until next time,
I'll be seeing you.
Now you're stepping on my lines.